AI, it's one of the hottest topics in the wealth management industry right now. But how should firms actually be implementing it? I'm joined by John O'Connell, founder and CEO of the Oasis Group, to learn more. John, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Shannon. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So you are the AI guru right now, and I know it's top of mind for a lot of folks. And I think one of the biggest challenges we're seeing in our space right now is how firms can ultimately implement it and how they should approach it. It's not something that you can just jump into. So what are you seeing there?
So I think there's so many different applications, right? A lot of firms today really want to be able to start small, start thinking about their data and how they organize their data, and then start asking interesting questions. Like, what kind of questions could AI answer for me around this, right? So imagine, it's really funny. This morning in one of the morning sessions, there was a discussion where Eve was on stage talking about an experience she had with a chatbot. She went through all these prompts of the chatbot, and then the chatbot said, you need to call a person. Well, think about this for a minute. What if you had all these prompts for a chatbot, and then the chatbot said, what's a good phone number for me to call you? And then AI, because AI is really good at summarizing things, right? AI could summarize the conversation, send that to a customer service rep that calls you and says, you know what, Shannon, I know you went through our chatbot, and from what I understand, this was the challenge you had. I'm here to help you. What a different user experience that could be, right? So I think a lot of firms need to consider, where could they use AI today? What's AI really good at? Chatbots, large language models, and then how do they use that today in their business to advance their customer experience and their value proposition? That's really the key.
So let's dive into the different types of AI. We hear about generative AI, large language models, machine learning. Paint the picture here.
So I'm actually going to be speaking here at the conference around AI, and we're going to go through the 7 real types of AI. Some are types by function, and some are types by the way that it's designed. But when you think of things like machine learning, large language models, all of these are really purpose-built solutions. So they're a pretty narrow AI capability, and they're built to solve specific problems. So you can train these AI models, like you can train a language model to understand, like some of the lexicon we use here in the wealth management space. What's a performance report? What's a client? What's that kind of definition? What's a financial plan? So training AI models around some of these specific terms that we use is really important. And that's what you're seeing firms like Morgan Stanley doing and things like that. They're building those AI models around it. So I think that there's so many different applications. You really got to think of, what do I want to accomplish? And then that's going to be, do I use a large language model? Do I use, for example, a generative text to be able to send out better marketing emails or more targeted emails that are based around my client? Those applications are all available to someone today. So that's why people really need to think about it.
So we're obviously here at the Advise On conference, their inaugural conference, very exciting for them. And obviously, being such a forward-thinking firm, they have to be considering AI. Anything you can share there?
Yeah, so think about, some of the things you're going to see coming out from Advise On that I think are really, really interesting is, today in most financial applications, and, think of like these all-in-one applications like Advise On, you can query data. So you can say, show me the last time my client did a distribution out of their account, as an example. But what AI is really good at is really understanding patterns. So imagine you say, show me the last time my client did a distribution, and it comes back and says, hey, you know what? Your client's done distributions throughout the year, but every February they do actually a larger distribution. You may want to call them and find out, do they want to do a larger distribution? That could be based on data like, let's say your client owns their own business and they're funding a SEP IRA. Well, now's the time that they're going to take a really big distribution to fund the SEP IRA for last year. So AI can troll through that data and answer those types of questions. One of the things that I'm really excited with Advise On, what they're working on is they're going to put in more intelligent search capability. So from anywhere in the software, you can say, show me Shannon's account and whether or not Shannon has a joint account. That's a more interesting question, right? So from anywhere, instead of trying to navigate to Shannon, then navigating to the account screen and then trying to figure that out, I can simply ask the question and the AI model will go through all the available data that it has in an application like Advise On and come back with that answer for me. It's going to save an enormous amount of time for people that are trying to search through applications and find information.
And ultimately make for a better experience for advisors and their clients, right?
Absolutely. Imagine if your client's on the phone and you're trying to answer a question really quickly. An intelligent search capability like what they're building with Advise On is going to make your conversation more fluid, right? You're going to come up with the answer much more quickly instead of trying to navigate screen by screen by screen to get to that answer.
Absolutely. Well, times are certainly changing, and it's very exciting right now in this industry. John, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
For wealthmanagement.com, I'm Shannon Rossick.